So obviously a super special race to look back on aboard Economics in the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes. Not only my sponsor, but obviously His Highness Sheikh Issa is Economics owner, and it was a long-term target for the horse. He obviously had a pretty light campaign, and everything was basically channeled towards Ireland this day, and definitely made it even more of an occasion and a special day to be a part of. Let alone with the fact of him ending up winning.
As the white flag is raised, and they're off. 8 runners over 1.25 miles in the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes.
So I thought the first furlong was always going to be pretty pivotal in what we did, like having 4 Aidan O'Brien runners. Obviously there was a couple of others in there, or 3 others in there that weren't Aidan's. It made it, you know, quite an intimidating race to break down beforehand, because they had, you know, champion in Auguste Rodin to beat, along with obviously Japanese horse Ghost Rider and Sheikh Obey's horse down the inside. You know, they're all fair horses, but I guess I was very much aware of the fact that Aidan sort of had the stronghold of the race in the fact they had so many runners and a very, very good horse to contend with as well. We got drawn outside, which gave us options, which was great, and obviously the race took a furlong or two to settle down here, but being on the outside just kind of enabled us a bit of a choice in where we went and where we ended up, and luckily he's a beautifully minded horse and made life very, very easy to just position where I wanted him, and shortly when we filter over, he relaxed into a great rhythm and made life extremely easy for me.
Pushed on the lead is Luxembourg. Close up is Ghost Rider, running the rail is Royal Rhyme, and they're followed by Shin Emperor, Auguste Rodin and Economics racing together with the...
So I think after a couple of furlongs, when the race started to settle down and the game plan became evident, it was probably quite a pivotal point in the race in that we had Shin Emperor in front of us, only one O'Brien horse in front, and was able to get the rest of them behind me and Auguste Rodin down on the inside, and it just meant probably we were sort of more in the driving seat than I thought we might be for the race. By no means straightforward, and having watched back a few Irish Champion Stakes, quite a lot of winners had come on that 3 deep trail, so I wasn't overly worried being there, and if that was the place to get into a rhythm and get relaxed, I was very willing to be there. But yeah, the race dynamic is sort of decided by this point, and then from there you're almost at a free rein to do what you want, and yeah, as I say, he had a great mind that day and relaxed fantastic, which made life so much easier.
Los Angeles, and in the white cap is Hans Andersen. Less than a mile to go, and the leader is Luxembourg under Declan McDonough by more than a length to Ghost Rider and Richard Kingscote in second. Third is Royal Rhyme and Clifford Lee, being followed by Shin Emperor and Yusei Sakai. Economics and Tom Marquand on the outside of Auguste Rodin and Ryan Moore. And these are being followed by Los Angeles, Dylan Brown, McMonigal, and trailing the field is Hans Andersen and Chris Hayes. As they reach the halfway stage, and little changes in the order, it is Luxembourg upholding an advantage of 1.5 lengths over Ghost Rider than Royal Rhyme. Improving on the outside is Economics.
So I thought that was probably one of the most pivotal points of the race, to be perfectly honest, in the fact that Shin Emperor dropped down to being too deep and enabled us to slide up onto the outside of Ghost Rider and really almost lock the race down. You know when you're in that position that, say, having those 3 O'Brien horses behind you on a tight turning track like Leopardstown, it's going to be very hard for them if they want to launch a challenge early, because they have to come round and they're doing so much extra work. So almost by finding that 3 wide slot just outside Ghost Rider and the leader on the rail, it enabled us to kind of gain a little bit of control over what was going to happen, albeit you're covering a tiny bit more ground than the horses on the front end and on the inside, but it does mean that you can keep everything locked up and shut down, and you know, because he travelled so well, that's what it sort of enabled us to do now for the next, I guess, three and a bit furlongs.
Dark blue jacket. Shin Emperor next in between horses with the back 3, the stable companions, Auguste Rodin, Los Angeles and Hans Andersen. 4 furlongs out, and it's Luxembourg by less than a length now to Ghost Rider. Economics, horse with the big white face, continuing to move up to the leaders on the outside. Then Royal Rhyme, followed by Shin Emperor, Auguste Rodin, and then Los Angeles, and finally Hans Andersen as they tighten up on the home turn. 2.5 furlongs to go in the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes, and it's Luxembourg first into the straight and now been asked for more. Economics on the outside of Ghost Rider, followed then by Royal Rhyme. Auguste Rodin is trying to pick up in the middle of the track, and then Shin Emperor, Los Angeles.
So sort of from here on in, I could start to feel Ryan coming and could see Auguste Rodin's nose, and to be honest, I was a little bit worried because you know, while kind of knew we had the front two beat, it was a question mark as to how much the horse from behind would find, and also how much Our Lad would find. He was lightly raced on the day, and you know, getting into a proper scrap with a battle-hardened horse is tough on them. But just so, you know, so impressed with his attitude and how much he stuck his neck out. I think afterwards I said to William, it was almost like he had a telescopic neck in the fact that every time Auguste Rodin stepped in, he just kept on pulling out more and more and more, and you know, phenomenal for as well, supposedly lightly raced and slightly immature horse to go and battle so hard.
And Hans Andersen still in front is Luxembourg, but here on the outside is stable companion Auguste Rodin. Economics in between horses. They fight out the finish. Running on is Los Angeles. Economics and Auguste Rodin. Economics from Auguste Rodin. Should have.
Jerry Hannon's call was quite pretty good and animated, and look, I think, as I say, it was a long-term plan, obviously, for His Highness Sheikh Issa, extremely special, and you know, big honour to be riding a horse as good as him for the Somerville Lodge team as well, because you know, being attached to a stable like that, you're there to try and find champions, and yeah, winning races like that is very important, and pulling it off on a big day, and yeah, huge privilege to be part of such a fantastic day.